Yo, what's going on, YouTube fam? This is your boy J-Mon here, and I'm surrounded by some of my good buddies. We got Zach over here on the right and Sam over here on the left. And we got a nice little ban list discussion going for you guys.
wait, guys.
You just had to check.
Just in case it wasn't. Imagine spending like however long we spent and it didn't get recorded. Think about it. Just think about it like that.
Oh, so we got a nice ban list discussion. So essentially, how this is going to work, we're just going to go through, some hot topics, the hot cards that are often being discussed, amongst the community. And, I'm just going to give everybody the floor and see where everybody stands. So, yeah, so with all that being said, enough of the talk, let's go ahead and get started because we do have quite a few cards. First off, being Striker, as a lot of us know, we did get, confirmation that Engage is getting a reprint in, Battles of Legend. So what does that mean for Strikers in terms of getting hit? Because we did also get the little posts from Konami themselves that they were going to make small adjustments to the list, so that kind of indicates that they may not hit Strikers all that much. So what do you think, what do you think that could mean for Striker? Are they going to go by unscathed again, or are they just going to really address minor things like that ban list a couple ban lists ago where they hit 3 cards?
Zach. Yeah, I'll go first. So the first thing I'll say is we all know that Striker has been a deck for a very long time. It's been about a year that it's been out, and not only has it been out for a year, it's been at the top of every competitive event for the whole duration. We all know that. Every single ban list comes out, it's been unscathed. Basically, almost quite literally, with the exception of things like corner drones, it's been untouched. So what does that mean? Well, I think people really like the deck because its consistency and its ability to not feel crazy oppressive during every competitive top event. But it has issues, right? It has the fact that it's usually more consistent every deck. It can amass better resources than every deck, and it does so in a manner that feels unfair in certain situations. Things like multi-roll, it amasses too many resources, and that's a big issue for some people. So with the announcement of the reprint for Engage coming out, sure, they probably, in my opinion, they probably won't hit it. They want to make money, right? Of course, it's a set that it's a hot topic. They want that card to sell. They won't hit it probably, but let's talk about things like Widow Anchor. Let's talk about things like multi-roll, Kagari. Look at the OCG, right? So what do you have to say about that stuff?
For me personally, I think just because Engage is getting a reprint, they're not going to touch that at all. Right. Because the thing with it is, Engage is only good as the card it searches. The only thing when it feels like degenerate is when they top deck another Engage off of a draw from Engage. Yeah. I think I'd be happy with if they just limited Widow Anchor to 1. They limited Widow Anchor to 1. Because then it would make it tough for them, because once they set it with multi-roll, they got 1 use and then it's gone.
I mean, to that extent, I do agree because, it makes it to where if Widow Anchor was at 1, you can't really shotgun Widow Anchor turn 1 with Shizuku multi-roll combo. It makes it to where you really have to think, do I really want to, to shotgun that Widow Anchor knowing that that's my only copy and it's going to get banished. And I feel even with Widow Anchor at 1, because multi-roll would still be at 3 copies, being able to set multiple shark cannons, eagle boosters, maybe even your jamming waves and your, what's it called, your afterburners, I feel like that would still kind of be pretty strong. In the same thing can be said in reverse. Let's say Widow Anchor stayed at 3, but you limited or banned multi-roll. Some people want it banned. I mean, it does turn your entire deck into a super polymerization to where you can't respond to anything that's being played. It's pretty absurd. And I haven't even mentioned the fact that I can just load up a bunch of spells, activate Engage after Engage, Widow Anchors, and all this stuff, break my opponent's board, and then on the end phase after all of that, then just reset everything to just kind of just seal the deal and just make it to where your opponent's not coming back from it. Because if you it just seems so hard to beat a deck like Striker if they even resolve one effect of multi-roll to set cards.
Okay, so here's a question: is it multi-roll's fault for being able to enable that kind of stuff, or is it the support things like things like Widow Ink or things like Shark Cannon that really get that oppression feeling? What's the issue? Can we have a format where 3 multi-roll exists, 3 Widow Ink exists, like kind of like right now, or is that the no-go?
Well, I feel like even though a lot of people are sick of decks like Striker, I feel like against decks like Thunder Dragon and, you know, Salad, that kind of has to be a thing. But, you know, I think as you said earlier regarding, you know, just lowering the power ceiling of every deck to where you don't need to have like just uber powerful like boards, whether it be combo or control. And we'll get onto that later, but I feel like that's something that is worth discussing. So, you know, that's enough about Striker. Let's go and move on to Thunder. Now, Thunder in specific, I feel like, again, me personally, I feel like the dangers isn't really too much of the problem as, you know, because I feel like the dangers are already exploiting, you know, what Thunder already excels at doing, and that's just resourcing the grave or resourcing the banished and whatnot. And I feel like a lot of the complaints come from Danger Thunder rather than Danger Orcus or Danger this or Danger that, because I feel like Danger Thunder is just a much bigger threat. And I feel like if the Thunder aspect of the dangers or whatever has been checked, I feel like there honestly would be a lot less complaining about dangers, you know, if the Thunder aspect is like checked a lot. So, you know, things like maybe Roar or Dart getting limited or something like that.
That'd be tough because you can't limit Dart because you can't resolve its own effect if he gets limited.
I mean,
so.
that yeah, you are right there. Yeah. And Roar by itself is an automatic like double. Roar's an automatic triple Colossus, like period, because you summon Roar and you make Colossus, and you know Roar summons Dark. You make another Colossus, you grab Hawk, and then you just use those 2 Colossus and make a rank 8, and you Hawk. That's not Danger's doing all that. That's not Danger's fault. Now, you know, the same thing with the Guard Dragon aspect. That's not really Danger's doing all that. You know, the Guard Dragons require dragons, and they kind of, you know, so Danger's is only, you know, a piece of that equation. Only a piece of it. It's not really the main course. But the Dangers plus, like, any Danger monster plus the Sky Blaster now, you know, that is something that's it's pretty good.
Okay, Sam, I know that you have quite a bit of experience playing with the both the pure, like you had experience with the Thunder versions and the Dino versions. So what do you think about like the state of Thunder Dragons as a pure and a engine?
Well, it's definitely better. Like the Danger Thunder and the Pure Thunder are definitely better than a lot of variants, especially because Dino Thunder's consistency got pretty. It got severely. Neutered at the new banlist because Gold Star still works and so on. But in terms of, I think how we hit the Thunder variant is like keeping Pure Thunder alive and kind of limiting that like just big nasty board of Danger Thunder Dragon where they're using 2 Colossus to overlay for Harbinger. I think limiting Colossus is the right call.
I mean, I don't know. As much as I like limiting Colossus, I feel like that would actually kill Pure Thunder
it would
just
kill
a little
Thunder
bit.
For sure. No, it would.
You know, but that's the thing. Do you want to keep Pure Thunder a deck? Do you want to keep a deck like Pure Thunder Dragon deck? Because a lot of people don't really like Thunder Dragon Colossus as a boss monster. A lot of people like Thunder Dragons as a deck, but they don't like Colossus because Colossus is just there's a lot of times it's just too really oppressive boss monster. That's a mistake on legs that protects itself, and if you put multiples on the board.
I think one should be fine just because it has that built-in protection clause, and even if in a Pure Thunder variant where they destroy it, they can recycle it back with Fusion and get another one on board.
That's assuming that you can access it. So.
That's true, but I feel like Thunder is honestly a very delicate strategy because it's very resilient, you know, when it gets going. But when we're talking about banlist, it feels like you have to be very careful on how you hit Thunder Dragons to keep it playable in a way.
That's true. I mean, why do we not see Pure Thunder Dragons at all in the meta right now? Why is that?
Because Danger's turn every card in your hand into a combo piece, of course.
Yep. Okay. So is that a problem? right?
Now that could be something that could be looked at. Yes, I do believe that dangers do contribute some way, form, or fashion to Thunder's success, but it does, again, as some people say, it does contribute to the success of other rogue decks. But that's for later on down the road. So again, Thunders is a very delicate thing, and it's something that you can't really. You don't know what to hit when it comes to Thunder Dragon.
It's a very tough decision.
Now let's move on to Salad, because a lot of people say Salad should not get hit because the deck is too new.
Brand new.
However, I feel like you can't hit Thunder and Striker and leave Salad completely untouched. You can't leave a deck like that just completely dominant and just. There's always going to be a best deck of the format, but you can't have a deck that's just undoubtedly just play this deck or you lose.
Yeah.
That'd be like Zodiacs or Spirals all over again, kinda. In a way, but we still have like dangers and stuff, which Salad and Greats don't take advantage of. But if they have dangers, then then you're really talking Salad is just up here while everything else is kind of just like 2 levels below.
Let's go and let Sam talk about this. So, Sam is our resident Salomon great player, so let's see what he has to say about it.
I think just because, as you saw in the previous year when the Zodiacs came out, I think it was February, and there was a banlist a month later, all they did was limit Rapier to 2. I think if they're gonna do anything, because Konami still needs to push product, and there's more support coming out for Salomon Greats in Dark Neostorm. We get a recursion spell that recycles 2 Salomon Great monsters just from grave to hand, and we get Coyote, which recycles spell trap to your hand in end phase. And I think basically what they'll do if they're going to do anything is they're going to hit the consistency by either semi-limiting Circle or Gazelle.
Okay, that's fair.
I see people a lot of saying semi-limit Gazelle, but I think semi-limiting Circle is a bit of a better choice, because Circle can access any Salomon Great monster in your deck, and usually people already have the Gazelle hand. They'll search usually a foul. That way they end a full combo with a rank 4 on board, like a Dweller.
I like this one.
Yeah, that's nasty. It's a tough thing because it's so
I honestly feel like if Gazelle gets hit, then it's just gonna get replaced with just maximum buffaloes or whatever they call it. Flame. I just call it Flame Buffalo.
Yeah.
I feel because it's just if you have multiple Gazelles, then you can just use Buffaloes and just turbo into your Circle or turbo into your Gazelle.
No, I definitely think
very easily.
Oh yeah, I definitely think limited to 1 might be the move, because I forgot we do get a card in Dark Neostorm that searches any level 4 Cyber Spell.
Oh, you're talking about the one that
Sign Up Mining.
Right,
yeah.
That's a good
So
one.
that just Salomon Great is on the power level that is just because of its consistency.
Right.
You break down the deck. Oh, it has a counter trap on board, maybe a couple hand traps. It's not that impressive. But when you
protection of failure.
However, the engine is very, very small, so it leaves a lot of room for a lot of other things. See, the Salomon, a lot of people do complain about Salomon Great, and I've said it a few times, it's not the Salomon Great strategy itself that's really, really bad, but it's the stuff surrounding the Salomon Great stuff. The 12 hand traps, the artifact sanctums, and all that other stuff. All the stuff that surrounds it makes the Salomon Great engine just kind of over the top.
Yeah.
Because its engine is so small, and it's kind of like a replacement Trickstar. Again, it's a lot like Trickstar, where it's just a very, very condensed engine, so you can play. You have a bunch of space to play a bunch of different things, depending on the format, a bunch of hand traps, and all that, just like Trickstars used to do. It's honestly no different, except they have a searchable counter trap in a way. So if you can take care of some of the other degenerate stuff surrounding the Salomon Great deck, then you got something decent.
Yeah, it might lessen the power ceiling a little bit to where it becomes really.
So there it is.
But there's not too much there. So we're going to talk about a couple miscellaneous things. First off, we're going to talk about the thing that's talked about the most, and this is going to be a combination of 3 cards. It's going to be, the Phantom Knights of Rusty, Azathoth, or the Rank of Magic Launch. Because realistically, you can hit either of those 3, and they all have their strengths and weaknesses and all that good stuff, and they all have different applications outside of other decks and things like that. So what is your opinion on either of those 3?
Yeah, no, I Okay, so I like to use Rusty a lot because I play Orcus and I will constantly try to make Azathoth on my opponent's turn. It's a popular combo. But the thing with Rusty is I think it gains a lot of advantage. I mean, at the least, right, we're going +2, right, pretty much. At the least, we can keep going, but let's just say that, right? And I know people will say, oh, but Rusty can't be used to link climb, and I get it, but the thing is, it's such a good standalone card. That's what I think the problem is. It generates too much of that advantage off of itself, right? And that's a big problem. So, is it ban worthy? I don't know. I think I'll have to ask their opinions for that. But Azathoth, by itself, I mean, if you think about it, summoning condition, it's raw summoning condition. It's not realistic. It's very difficult to make, and I think that's fair in itself.
Well, I mean, you summon it on top of
on top of Yarlo, but you have to go into all those. It's a lot of resources. But when you have things like rank of magic, which very minimalist effort. Think about the rank 4 engine. So easy, right? In media, rank 4, right?
If you resolve Rusty, you have a rank 4.
If you resolve Rusty, you have the rank 4. There's so many ways. You don't even need to. You could just use dangers. You can use, I don't name it. The amount of ways you can get to rank 4 is so easy. So being able to use the rank of magic.
Salmon rank can get to rank
exactly.
4.
In tandem with the Azathoth, it's not even the degeneracy. It's the ease. The access is the tough part. I think that needs to be looked at.
So you want it. You don't want it. You don't want to make it impossible. You want to make it not as easily accessible.
If you are gonna be able to,
you don't want it like just effortless, just one card.
Exactly.
I have
effortless, literally effortless. Everyone can do it, and you can do it in so many decks. I mean, being able to access the rank up magic to just do rank up shenanigans at the snap of your finger in all these decks is just, I think it's unacceptable. It promotes an unhealthy format.
But that sounds like an Orcus thing, though. Honestly,
think about how many decks can play Rusty. There are multiple decks that can access Rusty.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dark's the most heavily supported.
And
it's so supported. I mean, there's so much support.
And I think that's another reason why people have an issue with the dangers. Also, the fact that they're dark.
Yeah, they're dark.
The fact that they're dark, they synergize with the lure. They can be used to make Rusty and things such to that matter. I feel like maybe if they were like water or something, would they be as bad? Maybe not. But there's the fact that they're supported in, they belong in the attribute of the most supported attribute in the game. That's something that we can't deny. Now, what do you think about, the Rusty rank up magic shenanigans?
I just think that, where the format's standing at right now, there's no, immediately, multiple cards don't need to get banned. I really just think it's just one problem. Essentially, Azathoth by itself is not a problem. Azathoth can help potentially combo decks. The problem is making Azathoth on your opponents.
Right.
So I think the rank ups. I'm on the train that the rank ups should be banned.
Yeah, this guy will tell you all about the rank up.
But because the rank up, especially when we get Darkneo Storm with the Orcus XC, you can rank up with the Phantom Knights into calamities on your opponent's turn. It's pretty. The rank up magic can just facilitate because it promotes degenerate XC summoning.
Honestly, I feel that Konami, designed Dingirsu with the purpose of it actually interacting with calamities. Honestly, and even if they didn't, I honestly think that, if they didn't have that interaction, how good can Orcus actually compete against a deck like Salmon Great if it doesn't get hit? If Salad doesn't get hit, Orcus is probably its best competition, and calamities might be the way to kind of quell that, especially if they don't ban, Artifact Scythe. Another big one that probably needs to be talked about too. If they keep Scythe in the game, then Orcus has to have a little bit something similar to it, like let's say calamities.
Well, Sam,
but then again, that's just fighting degeneracy with degeneracy, which isn't really good for anybody, honestly.
Let's find out, Sam. If you were to play against an Orcus player who has access to She Arcus Dingirsu and they're going first, right? How do you, as a Salmon Great player, deal with a VFD on your turn?
I mean, it's tough because they know what I'm playing. They call fire.
Right.
I can't activate any monster effects in grave or hand.
Yep.
I can't blow it up with Crusadia. I mean,
So is that fair? Do you consider that a fair
It's-
game? Is that something you want to see in your format?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I
Yeah,
don't want to
that's fair.
see like a Exene Monster Man my turn that shuts
Is
down.
that something that other decks want to see? I don't think I would say that.
And
No decks want to see that.
And you know, the other thing I have with the rank of Magic, you know, in its defense, of course, is that I feel like if you just ban Azathoth, the majority of the decks that are abusing the engine kind of cease to exist because of the fact that at this point only Orcus can make use of the rank of Magic and pendulums with the help of Kali Yuga. And the reason why is just, you know, you can hit Azathoth and, you know, keep Kali Yuga and all that in the game, because Kali Yuga, in my opinion, is just infinitely harder to access. And the same thing with Calamities outside of Orcus. But then again, with Dingirsu, you know, you can maybe kind of argue that you can splash an Orcus engine into any deck, since Dingirsu can just slap on top of a Galatea and still be able to access the engine in whatever deck you decide to play, maybe.
I think you can right now. I mean, the combo's just two monsters with different names.
And that's a VFD.
Two monsters with different names.
That's a VFD on your opponent's turn.
So
I
think that also brings in another issue. Is the issue instead of Rusty, is it really the ease of access by the Orcus engine? Is it really the Orcus engine's fault that makes Rusty so easy? Because when Rusty first came out, you know, not a lot of people were doing too much with it. You know, somewhere I was when it came to Burning Abyss, but, you know, you didn't have like almost every deck just accessing, you know, Rusty. You didn't have it. Now, granted, you had decks like Lunalights that can access it very easily that didn't play the Orcus engine, but, you know, then I'm over here seeing decks like Burning Abyss accessing the Orcus engine. After they made Beatrice, they just go straight into a Mermaid and all that stuff. You know, I saw that. I mean, we've seen, you know, just all these different decks that can already establish their own kind of win con and just keep and somehow manage to have two other extenders can just deviate away from their combo and just step up into an Orcus combo.
So you think it's the ease of access?
As you said, you did say the ease of access, but I feel like it wouldn't be so easy if the Orcus engine wasn't so condensed and so splashy. Because every deck plays Nightmares. We all know this because of how generic Phoenix and Cerberus are, and Unicorn to an extent.
Alright, so I'll fire one back at you. You know, you talk about the ease of access is kind of the issue here, but when you talk about DDD King Kali Yuga and you said you have to pour so many more resources into it, that's not really the ease of access we're going after, but you still think that's a healthy game state promoting, you know, like you put all these resources, but King Kali Yuga, that's a dead stop for your opponent.
Oh yeah,
So, like,
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
You still think the rank up Magic, like the issue that people are having is just being able to not play, right? Not at the end of the day, you can't play.
Oh no, I know it's not fair, and that's the thing. You know, if you want to be able to compete in today's metagame, regardless if it's a meta or rogue deck, you do have to be able to do something inherently unfair to get the edge over your opponent. Now, granted, yes, Kali Yuga can shut it down, but I think the thing that makes it okay is the sheer limitation on the decks that can access it. You know, if only one to maybe two decks max can bring it out, and they're like really, really roguish decks at that, then at that point, you know, there's not really too much to complain about there. But, you know, when it comes to Azathoth, because again, every deck can make a rank 4, you know, then you're looking at an inherent issue. But, you know, if you ban Azathoth, that takes care of the problem right then. But then when She-Orcus Dingirsu comes out, then every deck has access to Calamities.
Every deck,
like rank 3 decks have access to a Calamities now because Dingirsu just slaps on top of Galatea because of how generic and how condensed an Orcus engine is. You just play 2 copies of Nightmare and one World Wand, one Harpoor, and 1 Skeleton, and that's it.
That's a VFD.
So I think you should get rid of the rank up.
That's fair. I mean, honestly,
it just prevents
the common denominator
that
seems
from
like
accessing. The common denominator is access Rusty, set the quick play,
and you have it on your opponent's turn. You have it. It's so easy.
Touche.
It's so
I'll
easy.
give you that.
Yeah.
So you don't. So aside from the rank up Magic shenanigans and the Azathoth, do you think the Orcus engine is too splashable and too generic?
The Dark Lock is pretty restrictive, and I think a lot of people
Considering
don't
dark
like
is
that.
the most supported
It
attribute.
is the most supported attribute, but like you obviously wouldn't play a deck like Salamangreat.
No,
Like
no.
a lot of these other meta decks, so when you are splashing into other decks, you're not splashing.
I
into
feel like
other
it'd be
top
much
tier
more
decks.
difficult if the Orcus archetype wasn't dark. You know, the fact that Rusty is dark, Summon Sork is dark, Moral Sword is dark.
Yep.
You know, just all the best like Link monsters and the best Xyz monsters are dark. You know, even if Azathoth was banned, I can still just sit on redo.
Right.
You know, and just kind of disrupt there. Well, which is, you know, it gives, you know, your deck a little interruption that you can provide. But, you know, the fact remains is that all the best things that you can go into is dark. So the fact that you are locked into dark may not matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, may not even.
And all that good stuff. But, so,
Okay,
you know, you think it's okay?
Here's the question: why do we not see Orcus at the very, very high? I mean, obviously, you know,
No,
give
I would-
credits to Thomas Rose, give credits to people, you know, like Inception. They obviously do very well, but why do we not see Orcus constantly, you know, hitting the tops of all these levels? Just very few, you know, they're very sparse on the top. So why don't we see it everywhere? What's the issue here, right?
well, I feel like the issue one is Salamangreats and their ability to make a Pistol Weller and
Right. Yeah.
how easy that is
It
because of
shuts it
this.
down.
Shuts down.
Yeah, it shuts it down.
It literally shuts down Orcus. Not to mention, I mean, as I thought or any of the rank up stuff may not even get hit this next list simply for the fact that you're not really seeing a lot of it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really just fallen out of favor because it's so easy to counter.
Yeah, it
It's a lot easier to counter. Like, just everybody plays Pankratops, everybody plays Twin Twisters because of Salamangreats.
Like Kaiju
Everybody's
too.
playing Kaijus
Yeah.
because, you know, just to turn off Salamangreat lore. Like all these, there's so oodles and oodles of ways just to stop the rank up play that, you know, it just seems like, I don't know, I feel like it's collateral damage because everybody's playing 12 hand traps, right? You know, any Azathoth combo requires it to kind of go off uncontested, and because Salamangreat exists, you're playing a lot of hand traps. These hand traps can then be used to stop an Orcus combo. And then on top of that, the same cards used to combat Salamangreat can be used against your Azathoth, like I said earlier. The Twin Twisters, the Kaijus, and the Pankratops.
Yeah.
It's just,
There's so many ways.
it's just, I don't know, it's just such an
Genko
uphill
Senka.
battle if you're playing an Azathoth combo.
I
It's degenerate, but I feel like, you know, just with the sheer amount of interruptions going on, it's just not doing too well.
I feel like they'll still hit it because you saw last format when Rongo Hongo was a thing. Right. Like
That's
that,
true.
That wasn't the top.
I mean,
deck.
it was
But
doing stuff
still-
at the beginning, but then it started
Yeah,
really
but, like,
just dying
like,
down.
Same thing. Like it was such a talent, but they still banned Rongo just because of degeneracy reasons. So.
Yeah.
That's true.
And ease of access. Remember, let's
Yeah.
go. Let me guys. Let's go back to last format. Come on, any two warriors which you can access. with
Access
one
ISO.
card. You have one card in your hand like Armageddon Knight. You can access this. I mean, guys, the ease of access. I you have a point. The ease of access is a big, huge point when they talk about being independent. If you have to delve so far in your deck and so far into your resources in your hand just to get to a very specific win condition, then maybe that's a lot easier.
The problem is nowadays a lot of combos can be pulled off with just one card, like 1.5 cards, like
Yeah, exactly.
one card and maybe just a random card in hand to just pull things off now. You know, just one card combos,
That's
it can be an issue, but at the same time, depending on the format, it kind of can't be, or you know, it can be okay. It just depends. But you know, let's talk about, let's say, the dangers.
Yeah,
you know?
dangers are a crazy hot topic right now in the community.
Oh yeah.
They're insane. People have opinions about it.
So me personally, obviously, like, so my nobody disagree, but I feel like most people would start in agreement. The three best dangers are Jackalope, Tsuchinoko, and Nest.
I don't
Nobody's
think people
gonna
are
argue
no one's
that.
gonna
No one's
argue.
gonna
Yeah,
argue
yeah, no one's
that.
gonna
I
argue
think
that.
that two of those three need to get into one.
And those
Two
are,
of them.
Two of those.
Two of them.
One can stay at 3 so the engine stays alive, but to hinder the power, I think Tsuchinoko and Jackalope should go to 1.
Leave Nessie to 3.
Yes.
Is it because of the level, or
That's
is it
just
because
it's. I think the level's a big issue for me
Level.
because Tsuchinoko is just a guaranteed free money
guaranteed?
no
Guaranteed,
matter
yeah,
what.
no matter what.
And Jackalope is just like a free sell protect, but they're both level 3, and I think that's going to create some problems in the future, especially with Beanie coming out.
So you're looking.
That's
into
what
the
I was
future.
gonna use it
Yeah.
in, just
I'm like,
Beanie, just
exactly. No, I think
Yeah.
two of those 3 need to go to 3. I think it should be Jackalope and Tsuchinoko.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that the fact that those guarantee you advantage in like every sort of facet versus some of the other dangers like think Chupacabra, I think Werewolf. They're just not as good. I don't believe that they deserve that merit to get hit. But the fact that they're guaranteed the advantage is just a little bit too strong. I mean, it's an upstart goblin, puts a body on board, doesn't normal summon. I mean, what do you think about that? It just seems too strong.
I'm just on two different sides of the fence. Yes, depending on the deck, it can be very ridiculous. Like I said, dangers in tandem with a deck like Thunder Dragon that plus off the graveyard, that can make dangers appear a little bit more overbearing because the Thunder Dragons themselves just net you so much card advantage by themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, you know, when you have a deck like Orcus, you know, dangers just become a starter card to where I need is just a danger and like a normal summon, and I can make Mermaid or Ibly and all that good stuff. But you know, from there, the boards that are being made are all from the Thunder Dragons, are all from the Orcus.
But you could never have gotten there had it not been for the danger. So who do we blame, right?
Well, I mean, okay, in Orcus, think of it, you know, you play Sky Striker Trickstars, I play Sky Striker Trickstars. Right. We don't even play dangers, and it still happens. You know, we still produce the same results. Now, with Thunder Dragons, that's a little bit different because, you know, Thunder Dragons kind of don't want to normal summon. They can't really normal summon because of little 5s and hires and things like that. So that's a different story altogether. You know, but, you know, when it comes to the Thunders, it kind of starts small. It starts and then it starts to snowball. The dangers start at the bottom, and then when Thunders hit the grave, then you start doing dropping baby dragons on the board. You drop Sky Blaster on the board. You're making Saryujus. You're going into your guard dragons and all this other stuff, and it just builds and builds. But the dangers kind of maybe started off because, you know, the Thunder Dragons can't normal summon. I mean, I don't think they play Solar, the danger builds. I'm not sure.
I don't know. For sure.
But I know their only normal summon is like Sky Blaster and things like that.
And like a deck.
Yeah.
And so I guess in a sense like that, yeah, dangers make it easier for them to get going. But, you know, when it comes to all that extension and pushing past all the hand traps and stuff, that's not even the dangers doing that. That's everything else. That's the Levianeers, the Wyvern Busters, the Collapse Serpents, and the Guard Dragons, the multiple Saryujas, and it just, you know, I feel like the dangers just kind of get it off the ground. But once it's off the ground, that's it.
I just think if we limit the good ones, it'll force them to play like the worse ones like Chupacabra and like Mothman.
Exactly. I really like that idea.
That is true.
Like is that way they can still kind of have their combo starts, but it's just a bit more risky because
they still have to play that
guaranteed.
Exactly. What's the whole purpose of the danger archetype? Like, let's think about why the danger archetype is this. You know, you play these dangers because, you know, there's supposed to be a fear factor where like you don't necessarily know what's going to happen when you hit. You know, you don't know where you're going to hit. Right? You have no idea. But when you play Nessie, you play, you know, Tsuchinoko, Jackalope, you don't care. You don't care.
I honestly feel if any of them are going to get hit, Nessie's going to be the first one to get hit because if Jackalope and Tsuchinoko are hit, yes, they're free bodies on board, but Nessie is the only danger that gives you a second chance at a danger and not lose anything out of your hand.
Yeah,
in a
like
way.
I said, like it's just my opinion that Jackalope and Tsuchinoko, but I just think of those three, 2 need to go. Yeah. One can stay at 3, 2 of those need to go.
Now, let's talk about a big one right now that's just really been popular. Artifact Scythe. That card, Artifact Scythe.
Scythe is crazy. No discussion, just ban. Yeah.
My opinion is, if you want to ban Azathoth / Rank of Magic, then you should definitely ban Scythe. Honestly, because stopping monster effects and stopping the extra deck are almost on equal levels of viability. One is just barely higher than the other. If you can't access your extra deck, you